Hello, my name is Marlon, and I am here to share with you something spiritual, supernatural that happened to me in around August 2024. And it led me to start my journey with Jesus. Before I get into it, though, let me give you a little bit of a backstory about myself. So I was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. I grew up in a parish known as St. Anne's in a district called Alderton, and I was raised partially by my grandparents. So my grandmother, a very religious family. My grandmother was a very praying grandmother. She would pray for everyone under the sun. My granddad, he was a pastor in the community. He was quite a disciplinarian, very strict man. And every Sunday, without a fail, it was church. Sunday school, children church, grown-up church. You know, we'll go home, we'll have our dinner, head back out to the night services, church during the week as well. And, you know, there'll be times when I'm sitting in church and I'm just completely bored out my head. I'm sitting there learning about this man called Jesus, learn that he died on the cross for my sins, whatever that meant at the time. And it was just something that I was not interested in, because I'm sitting there and I'm hungry. I want to eat, you know, I want to go, I'm bored. But you can't make a fuss, you know, you're going to get a slap in your head otherwise, a nice conk in your forehead. You know, so, or what is it? A pinch. You get a pinch as well. So yeah, that was that. And I would normally kneel with my grandmother. She will teach me the Lord's Prayer and we'll pray together. And that become my sort of thing whereby, you know, I am sort of praying every night, every morning, before and after bed, and so on. And yeah, so times were good and bad, you know, from sort of humble beginnings. So, you know, there will be times when we have a tank at the back of the house whereby whenever it rains, it collects water. And sometimes there's a drought and we would have to then walk for miles, you know, just to get water. And, you know, cooking on wood fire, you know, campfire days, you know, so to cook our food and stuff. So yeah, you know, my nan, granddad, you know, very supportive, hardworking people, and very religious people. But yeah, after a while, I just hated church. I hated it. I did not enjoy church at all. So yeah. Single mom, you know, dad was absent. And at around age 8, I went to live with my mom in Kingston and in Portmore, St. Catherine as well. And this was when things were a little bit more relaxed with my mom. So I would still have to go to church, but it wasn't as, you know, it wasn't so regiment, basically. And there was this church I remember I used to attend, and I was just going for the soup. Straight up, man, the soup was good, it was nice, and to see some of my school friends, you know, so that was that. It was a New Testament Church of God in sort of Bayside. It was near Bayside. Yeah, anyway, but yeah, so that was that. And so, yeah, my mom immigrated to the UK. I followed around age 12. And then things was a lot even more relaxed then. Church was a thing where I would go now and then. You know, I wasn't interested. So my mom, you know, I was a teenager then. Mom didn't really, you know, wasn't really pushing me into it. You know, she encouraged it, but, you know, wasn't really pushing me. And yeah, so by the time I get to the age whereby I'm able to sort of work, make my money, I was just want to be out clubbing, playing computer games, watching films, hooking up with friends and girls and this and that, and, enjoying the beautiful things of the world. And so I don't know when my religious views changed, but I remember one day I woke up and I decided that I don't need to pray. What am I praying for? I used to pray in the mornings and when I wake up and before I go to bed. And I decided one day just to stop. I've always believed that, I'm a good, decent person. I've got a relationship with God, but this is where I have a problem. I don't know where it came from, but I've always been a sort of a deep thinker. And for me, I just did not believe that Jesus was any God. I didn't regard him as any God who died on the cross for my sins. I didn't believe into any of that stuff. And I believe he was definitely he was a human, a prophet, and that was that. And that's why myself and my Muslim brothers and sisters, I was more drawn to their faith. We were sort of on the same sort of page. So that was that. I just saw that, okay, he came, the world was in some sort of mad chaos, and he sort of came to try to spread love and all that. Bob Marley tried to spread love, and anyway, they got rid of him eventually when he tried to disrupt an order. And yeah, so I held on to that sort of belief system for many, many, many years. Over time, I did try reading the Bible at times, and it just put me off. All the Shakespeare-y stuff, I just couldn't deal, man. All that cometh, yea, though, thee, it was just, a bit too much. And it wasn't easily digestible. So I would read and then I'd stop. And my views on the Bible was, used for oppression, control, certain things I would believe, certain things I would not believe. And I just did not really respect it. And my thing now, so I held on to that sort of belief system whereby I believe in my God. I believe that I'm going to go to heaven because I'm a good, decent person. And that was my belief system for years. And I never I don't know the next step now in this what I'm going to talk about is, I don't know whether this would be classed as an NDE, a near-death experience sort of thing, but it could be. But anyway, so it was March 2024 when I needed to get some tires fitted on my car, rear tires, and I went to the tire shop, had the tires done, and all was good, all was fine. I was driving around. 5 days later, I'm hearing a sound coming from the passenger rear left of the vehicle, and I thought, okay, I wonder what that is. I ignored it, and I've been on the motorway doing 70 plus miles an hour, driving around town with my family, and I'm hearing it. And my missus says, "Oh, you need to get that looked at." And then it occurred to me, you know what? It's nothing. It's a minor. It's basically could be a broken bit of plastic underneath the car. Excuse me. At the time when I reverse into a step. So that was that. And I was just driving around and with the noise still there. Anyway, it was about 2 weeks later when I had a dentist appointment. It was on a Saturday when I'm driving along, and all of a sudden I heard a noise. It sounded as though the engine had fallen out from beneath the car. And the car sort of veered to the left towards the pavement / sidewalk for my American Caribbean friends. out there and family. So yeah, it veered off to the left, and luckily there weren't any sort of parked vehicles or pedestrians. Otherwise I would have definitely hit someone or crashed into the vehicles. But anyway, so I lost a little control, and then I thought, okay, let me go check what's that about. So I looked around the car, I'm walking around looking, I could not see anything obvious. So I thought, okay, that's bizarre. So I went back into the car now, and I decided to slowly, now I was on the phone to my friend at the time, excuse me, when this happened. So he's asking me, what was that? I said to him, I don't know. So I am slowly moving the car off when I'm hearing this loud scraping sound, and the car sort of jerked. And I thought, oh my word, okay, something major is going on with this car. So I got out of the car again, and like on the second inspection, when I saw what I saw, my heart sank. I felt sick, because when I looked down, I saw 2 bolts on the ground. The bolts that were supposed to be in the wheel, they were all gone. So basically the wheel came off the car. Immediately I thought, oh my word, what if I was on the motorway doing, X amount of miles an hour and this had happened? I wouldn't have been here today to tell the tale. And yeah, I felt sick. My brain was spinning, mixed emotions, all sorts. And yeah, I rang the missus. I was on the phone to my mate again, and in the end, and this is how God is good, because I'm normally a zippy driver. I'll put my foot down sometimes. But this day I was driving slower because I was on the phone, hands-free obviously, with my friend, driving along. And then, God is great, because the incident took place 10 minutes walking distance from where I've had the tires replaced 2 weeks prior. And yeah, I went up to the place, explained the situation to them. They were baffled. They were confused, thinking, how, man, you're alive. That's good. So anyway, in the end, they've sorted the problem, and that was that. Now, for me, I never really sit down and think of my own mortality in detail. I never until then. And I was absorbing a lot of content from YouTube, religious content, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, all that. But at the same time, I was more drawn to the Muslim faith. So because of the fact that Jesus isn't any God in their view. I would then, read the Bible. Well, not read, listen to the Bible, the audio version. It'll send me to sleep sometimes. And yeah, that was that. I was looking for something. I mean, over the many years, I've always wanted a sign. I believe in God, not Jesus. And I have always been wanting to see some sign, something supernatural, something, that'll make me think, okay, I get you. Okay, you are alive and well, God. And the sign I was looking for, a sign from God, not Jesus. I didn't believe in any Jesus. And so that was that. I was researching, I was watching a lot of content, and getting on with my life. A friend of mine, he's always said to me, Marlon, go church, man, go church. When are you going to go church? When are you going to take the kids? And, he kept on, it's like he knows something, I call him the prophet. But anyway, so about 4 months later, after the car incident, I was at home with my wife when the doorbell rang. I went, 2 guys were there. They're saying that they're going around praying for people in the community. And I thought, oh, praying for people in the community. That's a strange request. Never had that, never seen that done before. So anyway, I basically said to them, not really that interested, and but something in me sort of prompted me to push a little conversation with them. So I sort of explained to them my views about the Bible, about Jesus, that he wasn't any god. Maybe the man was a good magician, a good illusionist or whatever, and that was that. The Bible used for oppression, control. It's a system, and some stories I would believe, some I don't, and I'm not interested. And one of them said to me, I think he said, if I read it more, I will understand it, and I will gain more insight and all that and this. And I thought, no man, I'm good. See ya, bye. That was that until, I went to the kitchen. My missus asked me who those were. So I told her these guys came to pray. They're from the US in Texas. And now the thing is with the missus and I, Tash would normally, she's more keen. She has always been keen to go to church. And over the years, I've always shut her down to say, listen, if you want to go to church, you take the kids and you go. I'm not going to go to church sitting there listening to some man or woman talking about some man who died years ago, talking about Jesus, this God. No, he was a man who lived, and he caused upset to the wrong set of people. So they got rid of him, simple as. So she said to me, listen, look what happened to you the other day with the car situation. Things are going okay with us. You got a promotion at work and all this and that. And then I thought, okay, yeah, true. So anyway, she said, there's nothing wrong in getting some additional blessings. Go get them back. So I thought, all right then. So I went, they were just about to turn the corner because I would have missed them. And I called them over, and they came. I invited them into the house. They were in the hallway, and we extended the conversation, and I expressed my strong views to them about Jesus and the Bible. And I've accepted their prayer. And one of them said to me, if I want to understand more about Jesus and learn more about Jesus, I should read John. And I thought, okay, all right, thank you. I'll give that a go. So they left, and that's that until it was Thursday. Now, Thursdays are normally date nights for me and the missus. We would kick back, watch a film, listen to music, play some dominoes, whatever, chat, and so on. And that's how we would normally do Thursdays. But this time now I thought, okay, let me grab the Bible. So I went and grabbed my King James Bible, Shakespeare version one. And I thought, okay, let me get to John, First John. I said to her, yeah, we're going to do something different tonight. So I went to First John, and then I started to read First John, chapter 1. And in the beginning was the what? And the word was what? An angel descend from here, there. I thought, what is this garbage am I reading? Complete garbage. And, I'm thinking, I was all getting upset while reading it, thinking, how can people read this and think that this is a normal thing to read and accept this? No. And, but I wanted to finish the whole chapter. So I read it all the way through with frustration. Then my missus, she read chapter 2, I read chapter 3. And at the end of date night, I just thought, what a pile of garbage. Man, I can't believe I waste my time on this when, we could have been doing something different, more fun. So that was that. Until 3 days later. Now, I made a mockery of the Bible, of Jesus. I denied him. But then 3 days later, on the third day, I was on the phone with my auntie. It was August the 14th. And the football game, England versus, I think, either Spain or can't remember. But anyway, I wanted to get ready and go watch the game with my son. Not really a footy fan, but England's playing. So, yeah. I went into the shower and I started to soak myself up, soak myself up, and I turned the shower on, rinse myself off, grab my towel. It was sort of a grey towel, and I'm starting to dry myself. And so when I looked at the towel, my heart sank, and I felt a panic came over me, because what I saw was just blood on the towel, blood on different parts of the towel. I'm thinking, I have not felt any wound on me. There wasn't anything. I've been drying myself and I have not felt any wound. So what is this? Where's this blood coming from? I looked down on the floor. There were like 3 droplets of blood on the floor. So index finger, picked one up. I'm looking, thinking, I'm smelling it. Okay. But I don't know what blood meant to smell like anyway. I'm not going around smelling blood every day. But yeah, I washed my finger off. And then I'm thinking, okay, this is strange. So I grabbed some tissue. I checked my ear, my nose, my mouth, my privates, my everything. The tissue was white. And I'm trying to now make sense. Okay, what is happening here? Something really, is there a problem with the shower? And I thought, no, that doesn't make sense. So I sat in the toilet, in the bathroom for nearly about 15 to 20 minutes thinking, okay, I couldn't really think straight, basically. And I thought, okay, let me just head back into the bath, soak myself up again and rinse myself off. Now, it didn't occur to me to sort of get a mirror and look behind me, because I wasn't thinking straight. I was completely baffled. So anyway, I went back into the bath. I grabbed my flannel or my rag. I put some more shower gel on it. I started to soak myself up now, properly, thoroughly, all the way down. I looked at the towel, the flannel, and it was all it was white. The suds, the lather, it was all white. So I thought, okay, I'm good. But what's that about with the blood, or what looked like blood? And then I thought, oh, maybe it's paint. But then I never bought red paint in my life. So what is that? And I'm thinking, did the kids hurt themselves, or the missus, or? And then, but anyway, I looked. I'm in the bath, and then I turned the shower on. When I turned the shower on now, all I saw washing down me was just pure blood. A lot of blood was just washing down into the bath. It's as though it's coming from my back, washing down all the way into the bath. I stood there and I wasn't frightened this time. I wasn't panicking. I just relaxed and, I was at peace. And I just let it do its thing. Just completely washed down me. Now, turn the shower off. This time I went for a white towel. And I'm drying myself off with that new towel. And there wasn't anything on it. No red stain. That was fine. I got out of the bath. And when I got out, I was sitting on the bath for a long time, trying to make sense of what just happened. But I couldn't. So then, after about 20 minutes, I went to my bedroom. I called the missus. Tash came. I said to her, listen, I'm just going to lie on the bed. Can you check all the way from my head to my toe if you can see any wound or anything on me at all. Check my back properly. And she checked. Nothing. And she checked again. Nothing. So I said to her, I showed her the towel. She got shook. She thought she had to phone the ambulance. She thought maybe something weird is going on with me. I said to her, that's not my blood. That's nothing to do with me. That didn't come from me. I said, is it yours? Did you hurt yourself? Did the kids hurt themselves? What is that about? And she was baffled, confused. I was up and down. My brain is spinning. My heart is racing. I'm feeling as if I'm going to pass out. 5-10 minutes later. Not even that. It probably was about 5 minutes. Because I'm trying to rationalize what happened and all sorts. And I thought, oh my word. Okay. Okay. That's when it clicks. Straight away, I surrendered to Jesus. I surrendered. I was baptized straight away in the Spirit. Straight away. I was like, okay, Jesus. Okay. You slapped me right in my face with that one, because you already know that there would not be anything else that would have done it for me. There would not be any dream or somebody speaking to me and all. Nah. You slapped me in my face to show me that you are real and alive. And yeah, then I did a complete 180. I became so radicalized for Jesus. Every single day reading the Bible, every single day praying. I cut out certain music, certain films, certain games that I used to play and watch and whatever. Cut those out. I apologized to Jesus for denying him. I spoke to some Christian friends back in the days that I've known, and I've reached out to some pastors. Some of them were a bit, wasn't sure. It may just be against scriptures. Violate scriptures in some way, and some, yeah, they saw it and accept it for what it is. And basically, yes. So a complete turnaround, and I started to look for church, church hopping all over the place, the missus and I and the kids. Now all this is new to the kids. They've never been church really before. And and even after all of that, the following day, I wanted to know for sure, this blood on the towel, is it actually blood or some sort of dye or paint or so I was still in denial. So I watched a video on YouTube whereby they said that if you put this chemical called hydrogen peroxide on blood, it will foam up. So I thought, okay, that's a good way to kind of test if this stain is actually blood. So I went and bought some of this hydrogen peroxide, and I sat down with the missus. We put it on the towel on a bit of the blood stain, and immediately the blood started to foam. And I thought, wow, okay, oh my word, God is great. God, you're so real. You're so real. So that was that. I was on fire for God, every single day praying, every single day reading the Bible, talking about God, watching sermons, learning, developing, growing spiritually. And so I'm not finished yet. On the third day, so on the third day, I went downstairs now and I'm feeling a draft. And I thought, oh, okay, why is it a bit chilly in here? Where's that draft coming from? So I checked the windows. They were locked. I then checked the back door. And when I saw the back door, I thought, oh my word, Like, what is this about? Like, the back door was about 15 inches or so wide open. It's a sliding door. And I thought, okay, nah. Because the missus and I, something that we do religiously, every night before we go to bed, we check the back door, we check all the windows, make sure the house is safe. Anyway, I thought, okay then, we've got a camera overseeing the back garden. So I thought, let me pull up the footage of that cam. So I went on my phone and I pulled up the footage. I'm watching. So the last footage that triggered the motion to initiate a recording by the cam was of myself in the back garden. I saw myself working. I was doing some work in the garden. I put the stuff away in the shed. I went inside the house. I slid the door shut. I locked the door. I pulled the blinds down. And that was the last capture. Now, how did the back door got open? I had no idea. And every single day, you know, it was on my mind. It was bugging me all the time. Until it was a few weeks later when I sat down and I thought, oh my word. Okay, of course, yes. Okay. So I've had a visitation from Christ himself. I was washed in his blood. So I've had a visitation from him after I denied him and made a mockery of him. And the third day he turned up. I got washed in his blood. And on the third day, he left and he went out and he left my back door open. And I tell you, yeah, that hit me big time. You know, because he knew for certain that I would not accept anything else. He knew that's the sign I needed to see. And yeah, that's that. And you know, for me, I was a complete ignorant fool of a sinner. I was not interested in anything called church, serving God, worshiping and all this and that. I just sort of, I didn't regard Jesus as anything but just a prophet, a man who disturbed the peace, and they got rid of him. And yeah, he came and he slapped me right in my face, you know, right in my face, took me out of the wilderness, you know, took me out of, you know, the sin that I was living in, you know, this sinful place, this world. So I just want to say, if you were someone like me who was sort of, you know, maybe you're lukewarm, maybe you're on the fence, you know, you're out there in the wilderness, you know, just get off that fence, you know, get hot for Jesus, you know. The fact that I was, you know, I'm walking with Christ now is a miracle, you know, because someone like me who's an ignorant toughhead, I was a fool of a sinner, and I did not regard Jesus, did not accept him. You know, I had no place for him. I believe in God, and I just thought that, yeah, from when I'm a good, decent person, I'm doing the right thing, I don't do nobody no harm, no nothing, I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna go to heaven. But he came and showed me that he's real. You know, he is real. And you know, I just want to say, listen, open up your heart. You know, if you're on the fence, if you're lukewarm, open up some more. Read the Bible. Read John. Read John. That's what the guys who turn up at my door said to me. Read John and understand Jesus. Open up your heart. Because, you know, after I've made a mockery of him, denied him, he turned up 3 days later. And, you know, I surrendered. I got convicted walking with him. And then on the third day he left, and he showed me he was about, because he went and he left my back door open. So Jesus is real. and He's my Lord and Savior. And sorry, I know this sound a little bit out there, a little bit sort of far-fetched. To this day, I can't, comprehend how something from the spiritual realm manifests itself into the physical. And to this day, I've kept the towel with the blood on it. I haven't washed it. Still got the blood stains, and I'm living for God, praising Jesus through God, praising God through Jesus. And I'm just so happy to be part of His family. I want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope this reach you, make you think, and just open up your heart some more. Let Him in, and He will show you that He is real. Thank you so much for your time. Sorry, it went on a bit too long. Thank you for watching, and I will update on some progress. Thank you.